Welcome back, everybody. So I got a pretty positive reaction to the last reaction video that I did. So I figured I'd continue to do them until basically people stopped telling me to do so. As I've mentioned before, this type of thing really gets under my skin. I don't like it when people give people bad advice either because they don't know any better or because maybe they are compromised by seeing some dollar signs or some combination of the two. So I decided before I go any deeper down the rabbit hole, I wanted to try to lay a few ground rules. So I've decided basically that I never want to be punching down. So what I mean by that is I'm going to only be talking about people that give advice that have a large following or if they're posting videos that have had a lot of views. But starting off, I think if someone has at least 10, 20,000 followers, something along that line, I think that's a pretty good area to kind of make a cutoff. So for today, I decided to take a look at the TikTok channel here of this guy named Ron at Sneller Financial and go through, he has a lot of videos here talking about stuff. So I figured I'd go through them, maybe pick one and see what he has to say. So just like last time, kind of looking up in the bio here, infinite banking, tax-free retirement, those are all some indicators that what he's going to talk about is probably all permanent cash value life insurance because those are some buzzwords that they like to use. Okay, so here we go. We got this video picked out here tagged the biggest scam in the financial world. 401ks, all these other things, be your own bank, all these hashtags here. So you already know what he's going to talk about is going to be life insurance, infinite banking, why the 401k is a scam. But let's see what he has to say.
What's a scam that's become so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore? I'll go first.
The 401k.
Yep.
For 4 decades now, the American people have been conned into locking up their money in these government-sponsored qualified retirement plans.
Okay, note, a 401k is not a government-sponsored retirement plan. You have not been conned. A 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement plan, not the government. So what the government does is allow certain tax advantages inside of a 401k, either pre-tax or post-tax contributions to it. But the actual sponsor, if we're using that word correctly, for a 401k is your employer. Whether you work for a big company or a small company that offers a 401k, and also caveat, not every employer offers a 401k, they're the ones sponsoring the plan.
The American people are promised great wealth, but the people actually getting wealthy are the system, the big bankers and Wall Street. You put your money.
So a 401k can be an extremely effective retirement savings tool. It's not supposed to be something that you're easily accessing at all times because the money you're putting aside in your 401k should be used for retirement. That's why I'm assuming he's going to talk about lockups here in a second. That's why there's going to be certain potential penalties you're going to pay if you try to take your money out before you reach age 59 and a half. Now, there are caveats that you're allowed to get at that money inside your 401k penalty free if certain conditions are met. And there's also policy loans that some 401ks allow, although not all of them.
Money into a 401k, you have to pay a 10% early withdrawal penalty to get it back out.
Yep, knew he was going to say that.
Most people understandably don't want to do that. So instead...
Right, yeah, most people wouldn't want to do that. The penalty's there. You know, you might not like the philosophy behind it, but the penalty's there to try to create a disincentive for people to get at their retirement funds prior to retirement. And unfortunately, you know, for better or for worse, the laws that govern the taxation of these 401k plans and the tax advantages of them have to be written to the lowest common denominator. So unfortunately, as human beings, a lot of times we're not great at long-term thinking and delayed gratification. So if we're saving money over a few decades into our retirement plan and we've been investing it correctly and it's growing and it's growing and it's growing, and eventually you notice maybe you have a few $100,000 sitting in there, maybe close to $1 million, there's going to be a temptation that many people have difficulty overcoming to take that money out and do something like buy a car or buy a big purchase and not use it properly for what it's meant to be used for, which is providing you income when you are in retirement. So that's why those penalties are put in there. It's not like some giant tax scam for the government to screw you over.
Instead, what they end up doing when they go to live their lives, they end up getting bank financing for everything, and then the banks get rich through your home mortgages, your auto loans, your credit cards, your student loans, your business loans. all because you don't have access to money, all because you fell for the big lie that you should lock all of your money up in your 401k. And has anybody ever actually explained to you how your 401k works upon withdrawal when you go to take your money out?
I bet you will.
I'm going to show you, and I think you're going to want to throw up.
How much you want to bet they're going to leave a lot of information out of this? So I've seen this type of thing before. I'm going to assume he's going to talk about all the disadvantages of the 401k, which there are definite disadvantages to the 401k. Nothing is all good or all bad, including cash value life insurance. It's just a tool. I know I've said it multiple times. Permanent life insurance, cash value life insurance is simply a tool. It's not good. It's not bad. It depends on if it's the correct tool to use for the particular outcome you're trying to get. Now, let's see what he has to say. Like I'm assuming he's going to point out all the flaws in a 401k and probably paint a very rosy picture without pointing out any real flaws inside of probably his permanent life insurance policy.
Let's say that you were able to overcome the odds and you grew $1 million balance in your 401k. Because the market's volatile, when you start withdrawing your balance in retirement, you have to pace yourself with something called the 4% safe withdrawal rate.
Okay, so this gets, we'll see what he says in a second about it, but at least he's calling it the safe withdrawal rate and he's not calling it the 4% rule. I will give him credit for that. A lot of people that talk about this to try to talk why the 401k is bad, when they talk about the 4% rule, the way that they talk about it would make you believe, if you don't know that much about finance, that you can only take 4% a year out of your 401k. What the 4% rule was a study that was done many decades ago, where they went and looked at historical returns and tried to come up with how much money could you take out of your retirement plan to be able to have good confidence that you would be able to weather any type of market or economic storm, including the Great Depression. And that's what they came up with here. Now, it doesn't mean it's 4% at all times. Some years it could be higher, some years it could be lower, depending on if you need to spend more money that year, the overall economic situation out there, your personal situation. In the real world, that's going to be flexible based off conditions.
On an annual basis, you get to withdraw just $40,000 per year.
Okay.
And then you also fell for the big lie that you should defer taxes until later.
Okay, so he keeps going back to this. It's always like, oh, it's a big lie. Oh, it's the big scam. You're stuck in the matrix. It just, again, it belies that conspiratorial mindset. I think a lot of people who gravitate toward permanent life insurance, be your own bank, all that, they all tend to have that mindset. And I think they tend to see, spooky things and ghosts and terrible people are out trying to screw you in places where it's really not.
And even if the tax brackets don't go up, and let's say you're in the lowest tax brackets, you're still having a lot of money come out due to the various income taxes. Mm-hmm. So your net amount is $34,000 per year, or less than $3,000 a month.
All right.
As a 401k millionaire.
Yeah, because the money is going to need to last you potentially 30 years. You got to think of retirement sometimes as it's not like a vacation or something. It's 30 years of unemployment. Now, what you also have to keep in mind here is if you're doing things correctly within your 401k, you need to have a proper asset allocation. So it doesn't mean that when you go to retire, unless it's really it meets your risk tolerance, you probably aren't going to take that $1 million balance and throw it all into a checking account at the bank. You're going to leave some parts of that in the stock market, some parts of that in the bond market, maybe some other types of investments as well to build a well-diversified portfolio that minimizes your risk while maximizing your return. But that means part of that is going to be growing over time as well. It's not just going to be depleting down.
That's not bad enough to pour salt in the wounds. That level of distribution makes 85% of your Social Security benefits taxable, while the financial institutions and your investment advisors making their recurring money management fees on the larger balance. So whose retirement plan really is this?
So let's sum up kind of what he's talking about there with the 401k. So he's talking about, he's got some math in there that is correct and makes sense, but he's being kind of selective in the stuff that he's showing you. He's kind of doing what I thought he would probably do, where he's talked about the disadvantages of why the 401k is bad. So let's see if he talks about any of the disadvantages for what his proposed solution is going to be.
Yours or theirs? So every day I educate people on how to escape the matrix, take back.
Like he brought up the matrix again. Like, it's just, you can tell from these little things kind of the mentality that some of these people have. And I think it's important to pay attention to that.
Control of their money by using a financial instrument that's been around for 200 years a financial instrument that's favored by the wealthy. I'm talking about an overfunded cash value life insurance policy.
Okay, let's hit on the other thing that he said there. That's another tell is it's favored by the wealthy. Cash value life insurance, overfunded cash value life insurance is favored by the wealthy. Now, to me, this is where a lot of times the narrative doesn't line up. Cash value life insurance can be a very useful tool for people that are trying to avoid taxes, estate taxes, high income taxes, all that types of stuff. Those types of people who avoiding tax kind of becomes their primary thing that they're worried about in their financial plan tend to be extremely wealthy. So ask yourself a question, is that you? Are you somebody that pertains to? If that's the case, maybe what he's going to talk about might make some sense. If not, and this is where my problem comes, this tends to be marketed and pitched to middle class everybody. You know, people making maybe the median wage or $100,000 a year, $150,000. You're doing very well at that point, but you're not at that point where you have tax avoidance being the main thing that you're worried about within your financial plan. That's the mismatch. But let's see what he says.
Not only do these programs provide a death benefit to protect your family, but it also allows you to grow your money off the radar screen of the IRS for income tax purposes, allows you to completely eliminate stock market risk, and allows you to retire tax-free. And the best part is you don't give up access to your money during your working years. You can use a
Okay, so let's let him finish.
Life insurance policy to finance all the things you want, all the things you need, and even use it to finance investments. You can buy cars, boats, finance your kids' college and weddings, and even use it as down payments for businesses or on rental real estate, things of that nature. If you want more information how you can ditch the 401k and take back control of your money and build true tax-free wealth for you and your family, send me a direct message, or you can click the link above in my bio to schedule.
All right, that's it. The rest is just a pitch for you to reach out to him. So yeah, pretty much didn't show any math when it came to cash value life insurance at that point. Made sure to try to show some math that showed numbers going down when talking about the 401k, the disadvantages of the 401k. But did you notice he mentioned no disadvantages of cash value life insurance? Something to keep in mind there. He's not really trying to educate you. This is a sales pitch. He claims he's educating you, but he's very selectively cherry picking what he wants to talk about. Cash value life insurance can be a useful tool. The 401k is a useful tool. They have to be used correctly for the right job, all right? And that's my worry with stuff like this, is that they are not educating, they're selling you. So he didn't mention any downsides of cash value life insurance. He talked about how you could always get at your money. He didn't probably talk about surrender charges or the fact that when you're putting money into these premiums, into these policies, a lot of times it takes many, many, many years until your cash value reaches something that you could conceivably borrow against. And that's the thing. You are borrowing against the cash value in these life insurance policies that you build up. You're not withdrawing it. You're borrowing it. That's the thing that makes it tax-free. But if you don't manage these policies correctly, they could blow up, and then you could be left with a tax bill as well. And, you know, the other thing, he mentioned fees when you're talking about the 401k. He didn't mention anything about the fees that are within these cash value life insurance policies. So to me, it's the cherry picking, the selectivity in what he's talking to you about, you know, showing all the shiny awesomeness of a cash value life insurance policy over here while only pointing out really the downsides of a 401k over here. To me, it's just disingenuous, and these types of people don't really have your best interest at heart. They're looking to make a sale. So to kind of drive my point home, let's take a look at this video on his page as well.
What we've got right here is my letter from the $1 Million Roundtable.
Okay, so this $1 Million Roundtable thing, he says he's a qualifying member, court of the table, top of the table for this $1 Million Roundtable. So I went and looked it up and tried to figure out what this thing is. It is a organization that you have to sell a lot of life insurance to become a part of. So you have to have a lot of premiums or income that you've generated as a life insurance agent. So let's take a look at those numbers. It says he's up to top of the table level here. So according to their website here, you can see to be top of the table, you've got to have these numbers here in commission, income, or premium that you've made for the year. If that's the amount of life insurance business that he's writing, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that he's making every year in his pocket. Now, I'll let you be the judge on if you think those types of things are going to cloud your judgment and when you are providing advice to people. Are you providing good objective advice on what's best for them? Or do those dollar signs start maybe clouding your judgment a little bit? He was so keen to talk about the fees and all the bad things that Wall Street's doing to earn money off of you about the 401k. But here's a few things for maybe ways he's earning money off your back. So you can make an informed decision on if this type of advice is good for you.